And every time, you may think you have arrived in everything you want. You may think your strengths are all that you have. You may think your weaknesses have brought you down. But there is always the stronger part of you that defines who you are. Welcome to Champions Chapter today with me, Phil Monokwong. And today we'll be talking about something much more interesting. A life of someone who has chosen not to look at their weaknesses, but to focus on their strength. A life that will not give up. I'm talking to you. Someone who chooses not to give up upon life, but chase whatsoever they want to achieve in their lives. Get tuned today. It's a time today we'll be learning quite a lot. As someone will be sharing their life stories and how they conquered their weaknesses and made their strength.
It is not about worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found.
But you have this moment.
I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable.
The Champions Chapter.
Now we are talking about a life without limits. A life where you're not limited to achieve your purpose. A life where you're not limited to achieve your dreams. Now some of you, you complain about your physical appearance. Some of you complain about the knowledge. Maybe you're ignorant about something. Some of you complain about your background. Let me tell you something. Where you come from does not define where you're going. So in life, we all have all kinds of limitations. But let me tell you something. After today's show, you cease to look at your limitations, but focus on your strength. Excuses will never build you any monument. But whatsoever you choose to do, looking at a life without limits will make you the person you are. Today, I'm having a wonderful person, a wonderful guest. That is none other than Mylene Chomuhendo. Welcome, Mylene, to today's show. Welcome, Mylene. Oh, great. Yeah, you're welcome to the Champions Chapter. There's someone out there today whose life will be transformed because of you.
Glory to God.
Oh, before I tell anyone anything, tell us something about you yourself. Who is Mylene?
I'm Chomuhendo Mylene.
Yeah.
I'm currently acting as the vice chairperson of an NGO called Spinal Injuries Association. Apart from that, I'm a business lady. Apart from that, I'm a sportswoman, a motivational speaker. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Now, she's saying that's just a little bit about her. But whatsoever she has mentioned, she's a business lady, she's a sports lady, she's the director of the Spinal Injury Association. And there is more. I am assuming you're looking at her and saying, are you for real? Is it true she's all this kind of person, a motivational speaker and all that? Yes, that is who she is. And that's why we are talking about life without limits. Now, Mylene, something a little personal here.
Yeah.
How did you get to the wheelchair?
I was at campus.
Someone would love to know, yeah?
Yes, back then in 2003, Mukono University.
Yeah.
And I was doing mass comm.
Okay.
Because it was always my passion.
Sure.
So I'm coming from an overnight and driver is misusing the road.
Yeah.
So we are overtaking a truck and before we know it, we collided into a bus. So we overturned. By the grace of God, I'm among the 4 that survived in that accident out of 11.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I survived with a spinal injury. That's why I have extra legs. It's not a limitation, it's an exceptional ability.
It's an
Exceptional ability.
And you have extra legs.
Yes.
Meaning you're capable to do more than what you could do. Much more.
Than I could do before.
Now, I'm personally getting challenged here. She has looked at it at a positive angle of life. Some of you could be saying she's seated on a wheelchair and that's the end of it all. Mylene, we have people who say once they're down on the wheelchair, that's the end of life. They say they can do nothing else. Now, I just want you to let us know, with your exceptional abilities and your extra legs, someone out there may look at it as if, never use this word. Others may say she's disabled. I think we don't use such word.
No.
She's not disabled.
I'm a person with a disability.
With a disability,
Yep.
but never disabled.
No.
So, who is a person with a disability and who is a disabled person? I think I would love that.
A person who is disabled is someone who cannot think for themselves,
Yeah.
do anything for themselves. They cannot make a choice.
Yeah.
Even when you're able-bodied, you're walking, you cannot make a choice. You cannot decide what you want to do, where you want to go. Then you're disabled.
When you're disabled. And a person with disability.
With a disability, my legs don't take me where I want to go
Yeah.
as quickly as I can,
Yeah.
but my chair can take me.
My chair can take you.
And when you level the ground, you'll not see my disability.
Sure.
When you make the ground accessible, make the buildings accessible, transport means accessible, you will not see my disability. Because the disability comes because there are limitations in the environment. That's what makes me a person with disability.
Literally, you're not limited by your mind.
No,
You're not limited in your destiny.
no,
You can still achieve what you want.
true.
Now, which means we have people who have the sign of the two legs. They have their
The arms,
arms,
and
legs,
legs, complete?
but they are disabled.
Yes.
Now, what makes them disabled? Something I've learned from you. That's their mind, their thinking makes them so disabled.
True.
Now, what would you advise somebody there? I want to first talk about the people with disability, right? Because I am so disturbed at times to see people who are capable of doing a lot seated by the streets begging. And I see the same kind of people with the same ability but doing much more and extraordinary. What's the difference between the two?
The difference between the two is the other one on the street has chosen to brand themselves as a beggar. Year in, year out.
Sure.
They torture themselves on the sun, in the rain, in the mud, sewage all over. That's what you've chosen to brand yourself as. Me, I was not built for that. I am much more than being on the street and begging. I would rather make chapati and sell, make daddies and sell, than you having pity on me all the time. Because in my experience with this accident, is that people get tired. When I give to you all the time and you're not giving back, it's tiring. It's a two-way. How can I help you get to where you want to go? And most people think I am a dependent. That's why every time they meet you, they want to give you a 500 coin. I was asking my colleagues the other day. I was holding a bag of 70,000. I was wearing a shirt of 150 and jeans of 40,000 and a blouse of 20,000. And I've plaited my hair for 70K, and someone comes to give me a 500 coin.
500 coins.
So I looked at her and I'm like, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm like, no, money is not my problem. If I gave you my wallet, trust me, I have enough to take me wherever I want to
It
go.
wouldn't be a problem.
So if you want to help me, ask me, do you need help? What kind of help?
So it's not that whenever you see someone with disability,
Yes.
definitely they need help. It's not that they need help. No, now there's something, Mylene, you've mentioned that is so intriguing. Meaning, someone chooses to be disabled,
Yes. It is a choice.
to be called a disabled person. It's a
Yes,
choice.
It's a choice.
Meaning you have allowed
The
yourself.
environment, the community
See,
around you
yeah.
to make you disabled, to label you disabled. Because your mind is disabled, not your body. It is your mind that is disabled that tells you, you can't do much more. This is all you can do.
You know, I've been thinking about something. If you want to walk, it's not the leg that takes the first step.
Nah.
It's the mind that takes the first step. That I want to take a step.
True.
I've thought about that. If you want to start a business, it's not the legs or the arms that will start a business.
No.
It's the mind.
It's the mind. Because even if they gave you 1 billion
Yeah.
to do that business that you're thinking you want to do,
Yeah.
you've not done enough research on that business, the market, the demand, the source of where you're going to get the goods you're going to sell. At what price will you sell? At what price will you buy? Even if I gave you 1 billion, I come back 1 year, you beat the same way I left you. Because your mind does not have that picture of where you're going. It is your mind that gives you direction. I want to be like this, either tomorrow or 2 years from now or 5 years from now. It starts there. Then the physical comes when the resources come and you're implementing what you have been building over the time.
It's everything in the mind.
Everything begins in the mind.
You know, I'm thinking about something. Which means the people who kind of call for self-pity, or they have labeled they have concentrated all their disability, their weaknesses in one point. Let me assume someone has a disability with just a leg. Now, they will carry all their disabled mindset to the leg, to think that everything would have been done if my legs were okay.
Yeah.
Not knowing that if you ask yourself a question, what best can I do the way I am?
True. That is the correct mindset.
That's a correct mindset. Now that I am like this, what can I do best?
Right now,
Yeah.
from my experience, my arms and my head is all I've got. So what do? You will find me on the computer looking for this, looking for that, for knowledge about stuff, knowledge about people, knowledge about my condition. How can I better myself?
The computer does not need to know whether you have legs or not.
It doesn't.
The computer is looking at your brain.
My mind.
Continue, please.
So after I have known that this is how far I can go, this is what I can do, then I concentrate on it. If I want to do a business, maybe in women's clothes, what's the latest trend? What do I want to promote as a businesswoman? Am I going to sell anything, just everything that everyone else out there is selling? No. My choice is I'm selling to women of class, a particular class, not everyone, because my target is not everyone. That means I have no one in particular that I want to sell to. So I must have a target. I want to sell clothes of this kind for this particular class of people at this particular price. And then I begin planning towards that.
And all that you're thinking
It is
of
my
what
mind.
to do.
Yes.
Mylene, at any one point in time, did you look at yourself as someone who is limited? Let's take a scenario and be real. Look at a point when you had just got in the accident. Did you at any one point look at yourself like, no, I'll be limited to do this and that?
True. In the first 2 years of my life, I was really frustrated because I was depending on people for literally everything. Back then I could not sit. Back then I could not turn myself in bed. But I got people that showered me with love. People that encouraged me that it is okay. Whatever challenge you're facing, it is okay. We are here with you. Then after putting all their efforts in me, it was like, no, I can't let them down. They've given me too much for me to just sit and cry all the time. Because I was wondering, will I ever go back to school? Will I ever get married? Will I give birth? You know, all these things are running in my head. If I want to do business, where do I start from? Because back then, my father just signed his last check off the job. And all that money was used to treat me. And I was like, okay, now my family cannot go down like this. My family cannot just go down because I am down.
As you still listen what Mylene says, she says something. Your potential does not flourish at your weakest point. Look for your strength. We'll be right back as Mylene will be telling us more. There's a life without limits.
It is not about worrying about what's gonna happen tomorrow,
Nelson
because
Mandela said, there is no passion to be found.
but you have this moment.
I'm telling you, embrace it because it's inevitable.
The Champions Chapter.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. You're still watching the Champions Chapter with me, Philmon Okwong. Actually, feel free to join the conversation. Just live on Facebook, we are there. Please put down your comments. You can join us on Twitter at Champions Chapter, or even some of you can always catch us live on YouTube and get to learn more as we share all the Champions Chapter. Now today, it's something so hot. A lady I would love to call, Mylene, I've actually chosen to call you the Iron Lady. Lady,
You're right.
you must be right, and Iron Lady, who has chosen not to look at the limitation. I want to pick it right from the point where, when you invited to the group of people on the wheelchair, but the moment they looked at you, they saw potential in you. And immediately they chose you to be the chairperson, the vice chairperson. Now, how did you positively contribute to the people on wheelchair? You know, I have a say that you can actually be on a wheelchair in your mind. You can actually be seated on a wheelchair in your mind while walking around. And we could be another person walking around in their mind but seated comfortably. not looking at the limitation. So, how did you positively impact these people?
Usually when you're elected in a position of leadership, you know so many decisions have to be made. So if you're back in self-pity, how will you contribute to moving forward? Because these people are looking at the ability in you, they're not looking at the disability. Now that I'm a leader, what do I do for these people to get better, to be stronger, to be encouraged? So I sat back after the elections, I'm like, okay, now no more crying, no more self-pity. I have to do something about myself. I have to do something that will encourage someone out there to live, because this is just the beginning of a new chapter. I call it a new chapter because I'm no longer on my 2 legs, I'm on 6 now. I still have my 2, but I have the 4 down. So what can I do to change the environment? Because I had had so many times people being called omlema, the disabled. And some who knew their rights would tell you, I'm not omlema, I have a name. So when I joined the fraternity, that group of ladies and gentlemen, I had their stories, how they got their injury, how far they've come. Some are married, they have kids, some are going back to school. I'm like, wow. So my mind was open. If they've done it, I can do it.
And some were in business.
If they are in business, I'll get there. What can I do different from what the rest are doing?
Sure.
I was looking for that opportunity where I can make an impact. So I saw the women of my kind. I'm like, how can I help them to live a positive life, to build their self-esteem? How can I help them to live a better life than where I have found them? Sure. Good enough, when all this is happening to me, God is still in the picture.
God is still in the
He
picture.
has not deserted me.
Sure.
He'll be with you in the storm, in the fires, in the waters, everywhere. He's always there. You choose to ignore him, and you will bear a cross, and you will go nowhere with it. So in all this, I'm praying to God, what is the next item on the menu that you have for me? Say a simple prayer. If it is your will that I serve you, I want rent. I don't want to beg anyone. I want rent. I want food.
Now, Miley, now that I'm calling you the Iron Lady, you've been resilient enough. You're fighting your fight well. But there are people out there who say, yes, Miley, I'm also seated on a wheelchair. I'm also on my clutch. I also don't have my arms. Miley, how best can I become like you? So my question to you is, what opportunities do you see for a people like you?
One opportunity.
Where do you see the opportunities?
One opportunity that is just here right now is sports.
It's sports.
So many men out there have been out of the country, brought medals home. Why not you? Why not you? You have one leg. You can do lifting. You have one leg. You can play basketball. You have one leg. You can sit on a wheelchair and play badminton. You can play table tennis. Don't give me any excuse. It is your choice to be poor, and it is your choice to be labeled a person with disability or a disabled person, because it is what you want. Sports is a very good opportunity. One, it rehabilitates you. It keeps you fit. It's our way of exercising. It's our way of socializing. We meet new people and we have different ideas on so many things, so many discussions. Nowadays, when you win a medal, golden medal for our country, there's 5 million waiting for you at dinner in State House. Don't you want a taste of that life?
You know, you're talking to that category of people, but I'm also looking at myself. You're speaking to me. Philmon, which sports are you engaging in? Philmon, are you able to play badminton? You know, the question would be, assuming you had no legs, what other games would you play?
One is still basketball.
No, actually, you answer, that's what you're talking about. Assuming you have no legs, what business would you do?
So many businesses. You can open up a shopping mall, you can open up a supermarket. It is your mind. Everything is in your mind. It starts with your mind. Have a mindset of my dream is to be one of the richest ladies in the world.
First help me, look straight in the camera.
My dream is to be one of the richest ladies in this world.
Irrespective of?
My disability.
What are your strength points? You know, you're so energetic, you're so courageous to talk about yourself. What are your strong points in life? What do you do best at your capacity right now?
One, my strength, my inner strength is everyone else out there sees no ability in me. I have to prove to them they are wrong. By doing things different, by living a life that makes meaning. I don't live my life for me.
And by them, that's what Champions Chapter is all about. A meaningful life.
I don't live my life for me. My life is about everyone. It is about you. It is about him. It's about that person in the wheelchair. It's about that person in Mulago who has just gotten injured. It's about that woman hidden in the back court because she has a disability. It's about that child that is hidden under the bed because they have a disability. This is what it's all about now.
See, Miley, I'm thinking, there's a parent there watching us right now who has a son or a daughter, let me say child, who could be having a disability. And the parent would be stigmatized. You know, we have people who are stigmatized. They feel they're left out. They're underlooked at, as you say. But there's a parent there who will say, what can my son do? What can my daughter do? I believe you've given them the message. Their daughter has a lot that they can do.
Yes.
Their son has a lot that they can do. So it's not about how they are. That's not how it is all about. It's about what they can do. And what you, the parent, can instill in this child. Get the point? So I believe if we had people like you, the Mylins, even the people who are walking on the feet, having all their hands and whatsoever, would be having a meaningful life. Would drive more points to life. I have a question here. Well, I know, is it next week you'll be going over for the East African, how is it called?
East African Wheelchair Basketball
East African
Championships.
Wheelchair Basketball Championship. You're able to play basketball.
Yes.
You're able to compete.
Yes.
And you know what my point is? How are you able to compete in a world outside the basketball court? You know, I have a Mylin there who is an accountant, right? I could have a Mylin there who is a driver. I've seen people drive. I could be having a Mylin there who is a pilot. That's why, without doubt, I surely believe that you will be, not that you can, he will be the richest lady because you've chosen not to look at the limitation, but looking at your strength. So, to other people with disability, you know, you're speaking to someone in other part of the world, Uganda and everywhere. Now, do we have a school? And let me look at the point of gaining knowledge. Do we have somewhere where a school that trains people with disability, different kinds of capacities and knowledge, and how they can enhance on their capacity? Do we have such?
Those schools were there. But as time goes on, we look at them as institutions. You're making us prisoners because you want me to study with people with disability, you want me to work with people with disability. How about when I come out to this community, how will they look at me? How will they work with me? So right now, when you go out of a school for children with disability, we encourage you to go in a secondary school that is for able-bodied students.
Sure.
Because your strength now is here.
The mind.
Show them what you can do on paper, and no one will call you disabled again. When you're out there competing for jobs, what is your paper saying? What is your transcript saying?
Then look at the transcript, not your physical.
Do not, actually, if I came to your company to look for a job, and you're telling me you're not giving me a job because I have a disability, I will sue you. It is against my human rights for you to deny me a job because I have a disability. If you're a parent out there and you're keeping this kid under the bed in the courtyard, if I ever get to know, I will sue you because this kid is a human being. They deserve to go to school. They deserve to live a life like every other human being. Because right now you're looking at their disability, but when they have made it, when their talents come out and they have a gold medal or an award in something, that's when you know, oh my God, that's when it dawns on you. So to everyone out there, the able-bodied and the people with disability, like I said in the beginning, you're disabled here, not in the physical. If you cannot see where you're going, that is where your disability starts.
If you cannot see where you're going.
If you don't have a clue to where you're going, you're already disabled.
But don't you think there is a point that people with disability need to seek for knowledge?
It is
because
very
because
much-
it's knowledge that impacts your thinking capacity. So, Miley,
Yes, please.
you know, just last week we saw Eliud Kipchoge, the Kenyan athlete. He came up with a slogan that no human is limited.
Sure.
No human is limited. And he ran a 42 kilometers marathon in less than 2 hours. Actually became the first human being to do such. And I believe that anyone can stretch and reach their potential. Always I love to put you on the spot. I want to give you a chance there to speak to the world in just less than a minute. What would that be, that signature message that Mylene will always tell the world, the people with disability, what they can do? That even if one day you won't be around, they remember, Mylene changed my life. What's that word you can tell them? Just look straight in the camera. and tell them.
Life is what you make it. When you fail to make a choice, you have chosen to fail. So failure to make a choice is a choice. Make a choice, dream big, stay on point.
Dream big and live your life. Life is what you make it. That has been Mylene Chomuhendo that I've been discussing with. But there's something that I've realized. I don't want to leave this statement before we end the show. You also must know that imitation is limitation. If Mylene can do it best in sports, in singing, you who is a person maybe with disability, or you're able-bodied, but you're looking for what you do, focus on your area of strength, and that's when the world will recognize you. Thank you very much. You've been watching the Champions Chapter with me, Philemon Okwong. Please, our interactions continue on our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter.
I'm telling you, embrace it because it's inevitable.
The Champions Chapter.